I had spent weeks preparing her birthday party, ensuring every detail was just right. The flowers, the catering, the music, the guest list, all carefully planned. It was meant to celebrate us, a night where she would feel valued and cherished. I arrived early, checking that everything was perfect, straightening tables, inspecting the champagne, and quietly rehearsing my toast in my mind. But the moment the party began, something felt wrong. She moved through the room, laughing, flirting, trading knowing looks with someone I didn't recognize. My stomach tightened, yet I forced myself to ignore it. I reminded myself that patience, calm, and careful observation would reveal the truth. Then came the moment that shattered everything. She stepped up to the microphone, glass in hand, smiling as she publicly thanked another man for making her life brighter. My breath caught. As the applause faded, she turned toward me with a playful, mischievous smile and handed me a small package. I opened it slowly, expecting a light-hearted card or a simple gift. Instead, inside was a branded T-shirt with one word printed boldly across the front: divorced. The room exploded with laughter, and I felt every eye land on me. My wife, the person I trusted most, had humiliated me publicly in the space I had created for her. Anger, shouting, confrontation all tried to surface, but I refused to react. I quietly walked out, leaving the music, the laughter, and her stunned expression behind. Each step was measured and deliberate, my silence becoming the first consequence of her actions. Outside, the cool night air slowed my breathing and steadied my thoughts. My heart raced, but my mind was sharp. She had expected me to beg, argue, or fall apart, but patience and control became my strength. I didn't want to humiliate her further in that moment. I let her arrogance speak for itself. Every laugh, every cheer that had followed her gift now echoed as proof of her miscalculation. I had unknowingly created the perfect stage where her pride and recklessness took center place. As I considered my next move, I understood that power didn't need drama. It was quiet, deliberate, and devastating. 5 minutes later, I returned, not to argue, not to cause a scene, but to take control back. The room had grown quieter. Panic crept into her smile as she realized I had come back on my own terms. The laughter had vanished, replaced by uneasy silence. I picked up the T-shirt, the symbol of her boldness, and held it calmly. Every guest, every glance, every whisper reflected her sudden doubt. Her eyes widened, and her composure slipped. I hadn't yelled, I hadn't accused, and I hadn't reacted the way she expected. As I slowly moved through the room, every step steady and deliberate, I could feel her panic rising. She had believed arrogance and humor would shield her. Now the weight of consequences was starting to settle in. I said nothing, allowing the tension to grow, letting silence magnify the power of my calm. Her lips parted as if to speak, but no words followed. The room filled with an uneasy energy, the kind that appears when pride collapses without warning. She thought she could humiliate me, flaunt another man, and still keep control through charm. But I had already taken the narrative back. The T-shirt in my hand was no longer a symbol of defeat, but of authority. Every guest watching understood she had crossed a line, that the balance had shifted, and that I hadn't just endured her mockery. I was now the one in control. Her eyes flicked toward the exit, her smile weakening, and I saw how powerless she felt, trapped by consequences she had created herself. Then my phone buzzed. I looked down and saw notifications pouring in. 157 missed calls from her. Panic had taken over once she realized I wasn't reacting as she'd planned. Every missed call, every frantic message revealed her desperation, her boldness collapsing in on itself. She had assumed public humiliation would intimidate me, but it only exposed her recklessness. I remained calm, letting the messages pile up while maintaining a silence she couldn't challenge. Her panic was almost suffocating as she realized her attempt to provoke me had failed completely. In that quiet control, I understood that power doesn't come from anger or spectacle. It comes from strategy, timing, and steady composure. At last, she approached me, trembling slightly, unable to meet my eyes. I I didn't mean, she began, her voice shaking. I raised the t-shirt, my expression unreadable. You didn't have to mean anything, I said evenly. Your actions said enough, and now the consequences are clear. Her panic deepened, her composure shattered as the guests watched the shift unfold. She had believed arrogance and humor would protect her. Instead, they left her exposed, desperate, and powerless. The public scene she had staged to humiliate me became her own undoing. In that silence, I understood fully. A calm, deliberate response is far more devastating than any outburst. She sank into a chair, stunned, eyes wide, as if the room were spinning. Guests exchanged murmurs and glances, sensing the change. She realized then how badly she had misjudged me. Every laugh she expected at my expense turned against her. I reclaimed control without shouting or drama, simply by staying calm, precise, and unshaken. Her calls, her panic, her attempts to regain dignity meant nothing. She had underestimated patience, timing, and authority, and the outcome was final. As I walked away holding the t-shirt, I knew the moment would stay with her forever. A reminder that arrogance, betrayal, and audacity are powerless against calm strategy and unyielding composure. The 157 missed calls, the silence of the room, and the weight of her defeat were things she would never forget.